Hi, my name is Barry Jones. I am the principal consultant for Carbon 60, working in renewables and the energy sector throughout the UK, Europe, and further afield. The biggest things that we see to avoid with CVs when we receive them are poorly formatted CVs, so they're generally too long. They tend to ramble on a little bit too much, and they'll include things like bar charts or pie charts, things like that. Those look nice, but they're not really relevant. So we'd look to get the CV a little bit shorter. Also, as well, be truthful about your previous roles, about your positions, about your qualifications. Don't try to exaggerate those at all, because they're obviously easily checked these days. Also, gaps in work experience is a common fault. Obviously, having a gap within your work experience for a week or a month or so is not a major issue, but if it's a significant gap, don't be afraid to explain why that gap is there, so that future employers can understand the hiring process and what's happened within your history. And also, finally, whilst applying directly to an agency, the recruitment agency can always do your spell check and correct those errors. If you're applying directly to an employer, that wouldn't get checked, so that would have a detrimental effect on any application if your CV has got a lot of spelling errors within it. Ideally, you'd be looking at a CV to be 2 pages, maybe possibly to 3, depending on the type of experience and the type of role that we're recruiting for. But you certainly see CVs that are 7, 8, 9, 10 pages long, and that's just far too long. It doesn't engage the recruiter, it doesn't engage the client, and that would most probably not get looked at in any great detail because of the length of CV. We go back to no more than, say, 10 years of your career history, and anything after that, just make reference that previous roles are available on request, but certainly no more than 10 years worth of history on your CV to try to keep that CV as short as you possibly can. What recruiters and employers like to see are, on the initial thing, a lot of nice, clear layout, clear white space, so good formatting. They'd also like to clearly see as well a nice punchy profile introduction to give a quick overview of what your experiences are in relation to that specific role. Also as well, it's good to see start and end dates for each role that you've held, and by that I mean do your start and your end dates as a month and a year for starting, and a month and a year for ending. We see a lot of CVs that just have a year as a start date and a year as an end date, which doesn't really give a client enough information as to how long you've been in that position. And also from a recruitment point of view, an agency point of view, is to have your CV in a format that we can edit, that we can copy and paste from. We see a lot of CVs that we can't copy and paste from, and there's a delay in the processing getting that CV in a format that we can at least get it submitted in on our letterheads and represent you to the client. From a formatting point of view, it, as I say, just be quite punchy. So you want some white spaces between what your qualifications are, what your introduction is, what your profile is about, and also as well your experiences in each position held. But from a point of view of the actual format of that CV, we'd like to see CVs in a Word document or a PDF document that can be copy and pasted from to allow us to represent you to the client on our letterhead. Always, always, always tailor your CV. I can't stress that enough. The amount of CVs that we receive where candidates have just sent us a CV that is a generic CV that they hold on the files themselves to issue to agencies or to clients directly. that may be easy from a candidate point of view, it doesn't demonstrate in any way, shape, or form your interest within the role, your skill set as to how you can benefit that client with the skill sets that you hold. It just comes across as it's just another submission that hasn't really had much thought about it. So always try to tailor your CV to the actual role. And following on from that, what I would also recommend is look at the role that you're applying for and pick out the key skills or keywords that you actually have experience in, and make sure that those are embedded within your CV in the relevant areas. So in your profile and introduction that we spoke about a little while ago, in previous roles that you've held, if you've had previous skills that this job requires, make sure that those are highlighted in there. That would be picked up by recruiters and clients alike, and also by HBS systems, which is an applicant tracking system where they use keyword searches as well. So that always gives you a better chance of your CV being shortlisted for further review. And then if the role is not for you, don't just issue CVs in the hope that you may have a role that, or you may have an application that may be looked at, or the agency may have another role that may be suitable for you. If the role is not for you, be honest about that and really focus on what it is that you're seeking for your next career move, not just a question of applying for every role that you think may be suitable. You need to be really honest and open with yourself and try to make sure that you're only submitting CVs for roles that are your skill set.